Major support for Out to Lunch is provided by the law firm of Jones Walker. Established in 1937 with over 375 attorneys and offices throughout the U.S., providing a comprehensive range of services to a local, national, and international client base. JonesWalker.com. And by Business First Bank, with locations throughout the state, including 11 offices in the Baton Rouge area, providing personal and commercial banking, treasury management, and wealth solution services to help clients succeed. Business First Bank. Banking with greater momentum. At b1bank.com.
From Mansour's on the Boulevard, we're out to lunch with Stephanie Regal. Stephanie Regal is a broadcaster and editor of Baton Rouge Business Report. It's business Baton Rouge style.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Regal. Welcome to Out to Lunch. Some of us are fortunate enough to be born with a creative flair or a sense of style. But how do you turn those talents and traits into something that can sustain you? My guests today have secrets to share. Grace Emden is a Baton Rouge artist, more specifically a special effects makeup artist who specializes in special effects makeup for the movie industry. Grace actually started out making beautiful high-end cakes for weddings and birthday parties and realized after working on a movie set several years ago that the same skills that she applied to decorating cakes could be applied to decorating faces. Since then, her firm Art Gracefully has been hired for an array of productions and events, and if you could see the pictures on her website, well, you might not be able to sleep tonight, and you'd be amazed at the talent of this local artist. So, Grace, it's a pleasure to have you and Out to Lunch.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Candace Hampton is a local fashion blogger whose website, The Beauty Bow, covers a range of affordable and luxury clothing and beauty products with an emphasis on affordability. Candace grew up in Baton Rouge and has an undergraduate degree in business and an MBA in accounting. She's put those credentials to good use in her day job with the state of Louisiana, but Candace doesn't want to spend the rest of her career behind a desk, so she has launched The Beauty Bow, which she is in the process of turning into a full-time gig. Candace, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. It's so great to be here.
Look forward to hearing your story. Well, Grace, I'm going to start with you. You were making gorgeous themed cakes and got hired by the producers of the Twilight series when they were here shooting a movie a few years ago. They needed a cake for one of their interesting banquet scenes. How did you get into special effects makeup from there?
Well, I was actually, the food that I was hired to make for the Twilight movies, it was the Breaking Dawn, so it was a big Christmas dinner.
Okay.
So I actually did pies, cakes, turkeys, you name it. I mean, and two of everything. So everything that you would see at a Christmas dinner, I made. And we got to deliver the food to the set. And when I was on set, my gears shifted. I realized that's the industry I needed to be in special effects. I love food. I love, making cakes was a lot of fun, but I realized that I loved the idea of doing so much more.
Sure.
So the film industry was kind of an immediate outlet for that. And I met as many people as I could on set. And of course in Louisiana, it was a booming film industry for a while.
This was like 4 years ago?
Yeah, well,
3 years ago?
Let's see, what year was I guess Twilight was in 2009.
Oh, was it that long ago? Okay.
Yeah, it was a while back.
Time flies.
It wasn't immediately that I got into it. I, of course, had to talk to everyone I knew first. But yeah,
it developed from there. How did you actually master the art? I mean, because from what I've seen on your website, your pictures are quite impressive. How do you go from making beautiful cakes or beautiful art to actually knowing how to work with makeup to make it look like somebody's face has been slashed open or they've got a spear sticking out of their head,
Trial and error. I've learned to become very fearless with my business and my art. I'm completely self-taught, so everything is trial and error.
That's very impressive.
I've been interested in art since I was a young child, and everything I've done since then has kind of had some form or another of art involved.
And do you only do macabre, garish makeup, or do you make people look old or
everything?
Beat up?
Anything
Everything
that anybody needs on set, which involves beauty makeup at times as well. But lately I've just been doing commercials and stuff because I am planning for my wedding. So I've kind of taken a few months to myself to make that as much of an event as I'm sure people expect it to be, being as creative as I am.
Sure. Well, Candace, you also have a creative streak and an appreciation for aesthetics. Your passion is in fashion and beauty. How have you turned this into a business?
Well, I first started off doing makeup. I used to watch YouTube videos. That's actually where I started. And first I looked a hot mess, putting on makeup and, really thick, like ugly eyebrows. Like, I just kept practicing over and over and over again, watching more videos. Actually, someone on there inspired me to start doing my own videos. So as I kept filming and recording videos, that's when I started, improving with my skill.
Sure.
And I actually did solely makeup for about 5 years. I started in 2008, my high school senior year. And pretty much after 5 years, I decided to post an outfit of the day. That's like where you take a picture of an outfit and you share where you got all the items from and,
Right.
tag brands and stuff. And it looks like more people enjoyed the fashion aspect more than the beauty aspect. So that's when I started to post more, and it just flourished from there.
Now, you have a day job, but this is what you really would like to turn
This
into
is
your
what I love to
full-time
do.
career.
Yes.
Are you making money at it yet? I mean, or have you been able to monetize it at all?
Yes, I have. Whenever I tag brands in my stuff, I also share the links of where I've got everything from. And I get commission, like a percentage commission. It varies from company to company. And then also, for certain brands, they'll pay me to promote their products
So you're
on
what
their
we call an
website, on my website.
influencer. You're an
Yes.
influencer. This
Yes,
is
ma'am.
so cool. This is a whole new thing. This word didn't exist a few years ago. So as an influencer, though, do you reach out to the retailers, for instance, and the manufacturers and designers, or did they find you by virtue of the number of followers you have?
Mostly they contact me because I have two separate email addresses. I have one for YouTube and I have one for Instagram. That's how I kind of differentiate where all my contacts come from. And most of them come from my Instagram page. So mostly they reach out to me. But occasionally, if there's someone I really want to work with, like if I see another fashion blogger that promotes something, I'll reach out to them and send them my media kit, my pricing and everything like that.
So interesting. Do you have advertisers on your website, or is this strictly coming from commission and referral kind of business?
Commission sponsored posts, that's when someone sends you an item, you take pictures in it, and they pay you. So sometimes I get a flat fee from that. Sometimes I can send a tweet on Twitter, I'll get paid from that. Like various social media streams I get paid from. And I do have a few ads on my blog as well.
Now, do you get like free clothes from the stores that you promote? Or
Yes, free clothes.
they'll
And
send you the free clothes. Oh, that's great. That's a
It's
good
awesome.
deal. But you all are both self-taught, which I think is so interesting. I guess you have to start out with some sort of intrinsic artistic ability to be able to master.
Believe it or not, I can't draw, but I can do makeup. So it's kind of weird. Like certain stuff I can't do still. It's still I still have a little work, but
I still think that putting together outfits and stuff is such an art form that I can't do. I can draw and paint what I would want something to look like, but I could not put it together like,
And
someone who
yet
is
you're
in
able
fashion.
to do the makeup. Now you got into the film industry, Grace, you were saying a few minutes ago, at its boom, and it really was booming. And just a few years ago, we were the number one site for
Absolutely.
movie producers in the whole country, which is incredible. And it's all gone away. What has that done to this nascent business of yours that was just beginning to take off?
Well, I also do fine arts. I do paintings and stuff as well. So I have commissions all the time. So I stay very busy. But I also do commercials. Commercials are still very big here.
Really?
We have we have Celtic Studios, which is honestly, they have a lot of space that's available right
Yeah.
now. So people are able to shoot commercials and things like that and use the space for other filming things, small videos and stuff like that. So I still have a lot of work. It's just not necessarily a big sci-fi film or something that would be here.
Now, do you do makeup, for instance, for the haunted house, the 13th Gate?
I do. I am a makeup artist at the 13th Gate, which I've been there for about 6 years now.
I mean, that place is huge, though. That's a
Yes, it was voted #1 haunted house in the nation for a few years. That's.
And then what about other types of art? I mean, have you gone back to cakes?
I am making my wedding cake, but that is
Wow.
about as much as I've done lately. But about a year ago, when me and my fiance talked about getting married, we were kind of talking about rebranding myself instead and losing the Cakes of Grace website and losing my paintings website and kind of mashing it all in as selling myself as an artist. And so we thought of these names and stuff, and we came up with Art Gracefully because his last name is Lee. So I will soon
nice.
be Grace Lee. So it'll be Art Gracefully by
there
Grace
you
Lee.
go. That's great.
So yeah, I just kind of tried to sell myself as an artist, and anything that people may need and don't know how to kind of hone in on that creativity, I can help them with that.
And both of you are like building brands based on yourself, your sense of style, your sense of fashion, your artistic and
Absolutely.
creative sensibilities. And I mean, I think so many millennials, so many people today, but particularly your generation, the millennials, are having to do that and are choosing that type of career path. How do you build that brand, and how do you differentiate yourself when anybody can throw up a website or a blog and call themselves an influencer, an artist, a consultant, or whatever?
Honestly, I would think, like you were just saying, your Instagram is so big, and people follow that. You gain respect from other followers, like you just said. Someone inspired you to make your own videos. I think this generation, I have a YouTube channel, and I make videos of me doing makeup, but I got that idea from other artists doing that, and
like,
we're all
how
kind of
many people
inspiring.
would watch your YouTube videos?
Oh, I mean, a few 100,000 on some of the videos.
A few 100,000.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, that's quite impressive.
yeah, it depends on the makeup, but a lot of it is hashtagging.
Yeah.
You can tag things that are relevant I'm sure in the fashion industry. Same thing in the art industry. You can hashtag certain things, and people will find it in bulk, and it kind of singles out your product, your page, as being better than the other things that may have the same tags.
What about in your experience, Candace, building that Candace brand or the Beauty Bow brand, but differentiating yourself from others?
Well, first I found when I started doing makeup videos that my videos were very similar to other people's. And
Okay.
that might be why it kind of came to a halt. I would say like 3 years ago, I was stuck at the same amount of subscribers. So that's when I incorporated the fashion, and I started searching trends first, and then I started tagging like the larger bloggers. Some of them featured me on their website,
So you would tag the larger bloggers. Okay.
or I would incorporate them somehow into my blog posts on my website, and then send them an email telling them they were featured, and then they started
Nice.
sharing me on their page, and that's ultimately how people started finding me.
It's like the old-fashioned referral business, word of mouth. Now, Candace, you seem to focus on African American women in fashion. Is that exclusively, or it just a little bit?
Just a little bit, I would say. Actually, I did like a little bit of research as far as my analytics, and most of my followers do come from the United States, Canada, United Kingdom.
They're not local necessarily.
No, I would say like maybe 1,000 of them are local, because most people that engage with me in my comments and stuff are from out of the country, out of state.
That is so cool. How many followers do you have? Do you know?
Last time I looked, it was 71,000 on Instagram.
That's great.
29,000 on YouTube.
So, in other words, being in a small market like this doesn't really have any bearing on what either of you all do, since so much of what you do is online. Or-
It's kind of harder, honestly, as far as like events. Like there are a lot of blogger events that people host, that brands host, that aren't in Louisiana. So it's kind of like
Okay.
maybe I need to move one day because that's really how you get publicity and get contacts to network with whenever you go to those events, because you meet all sorts of people, CEOs of brands and all of that.
And where would that be? New York? Most
I
likely.
probably won't move that far. But they do have a lot of events in Texas as well, like Houston, Dallas,
Sure,
Austin.
Dallas. Yeah.
So I'm thinking more of that area to start.
What about you, Grace? And do you go out of market? Is your reach out of market, or just your
I have-
online presence?
I have a lot of people that will message me about painting commissions that live out. I mean, I can do a painting from pictures and descriptions of whatever people want, and I can ship. So that can be all over. I've shipped all over the world paintings, but with makeup, it's a little bit different. I have my big kit. It's kind of been a lot more of a local thing. But I love being in Baton Rouge. I think the online community for me has been just a tool to. I actually had a cake in the Baton Rouge Business Report years ago, and that was when I first started out. It was one of my first few cakes, and someone asked me, how do you market? And at the time, I was just using Etsy as an outlet, and I didn't sell my cakes through Etsy. I just listed them with pictures, and it had tags of Baton Rouge and stuff like that. So when people went online, Etsy had such a high search engine optimization, I guess.
Right.
People found my stuff faster through Etsy. So it was worth the 80 cents a month or whatever Etsy is to be able to market on there. And they would just contact me through my website.
You're listening to Out to Lunch. I'm Stephanie Riegel. We're talking with Grace Emden of Art Gracefully and Candace Hampton of The Beauty Boat. Well, ladies, I want to take a little break from business just to find out a little bit more about you personally and how that has affected the development of your respective companies. So I'm going to ask you this question. If you could have dinner with one influential person, living or dead, who would it be and why?
I'd probably say Brittany Xavier from Thrifts and Threads. She's one of my favorite fashion bloggers.
Okay, I've never heard of her. Tell me about her.
She is a vintage fashion blogger that lives in Los Angeles, and she's actually one of the people I've gotten most of my inspiration from. Whenever I've contacted her, she has no problem answering my questions. She's just a really...
So she's almost like mentored you.
Yes.
Has she been doing it longer than you have?
Actually shorter. And in 2 years' time, she's acquired like 500,000 followers on Instagram.
Wow. What's her secret?
Well, she shared some of her blogging techniques, mostly focuses on building an email list, something I'm still working on. Because when you have an email list, you can send out like newsletters and stuff like that, pretty much something to keep your followers' attention so that they keep coming back to your
So
site.
you're reaching out to them. You're not just waiting on them to go to your site and click on you.
You're giving them like an incentive to go to your website. Like, I have a giveaway on my blog, or my latest fashion post is here, or if you need coupons to shop, they're on my website.
So you see, this is interesting because that's what I was going to ask you, whether is her content better than yours or just she has better techniques for getting people to her site. And
I feel like it's a little bit of both.
Yeah. Well, that's great. So that's very inspirational to see. That's very interesting. What about you, Grace?
I think there's countless people that I would love to have a conversation with and just pick their brains. One maybe in the special effects community would be Rick Baker.
Okay.
Ooh, I know
Great. I actually recently had the pleasure of meeting V. Neal, who is an icon and pioneer in the special effects makeup community, and she actually got to see one of my makeups and kind of critique it and take pictures and talk with us and stuff like that. So that was a huge honor.
And what has V. Neal done?
V. Neal is the judge on the show Face Off, but she is the first woman special effects makeup artist in the world. She's kind of paved the way for women in this industry. She's done Beetlejuice, Mrs. Doubtfire. I mean, you name it. Some of the most amazing, you think of special effects makeup in the movie, and she was the head makeup artist on it. So incredible
and
sculptor.
She was
and
here
artist.
in Baton Rouge when you met her?
She was. She actually came. They were filming Face Off in New Orleans.
Okay.
And she wanted to come to the haunted house, and so she came through with a few of her friends, and they came through and looked at the makeup room and watched us and talked with us. And
Were they impressed?
very much. They said they had a great time, and I was very honored that she said at the end of it, when they walked through the house, I asked what her favorite characters were, and 4 out of the 5 that she named were mine. So
Fantastic.
I was
Congratulations.
extremely thrilled about that. But yeah, that is another great person, I guess.
Are there, professional development classes that you would go to just to catch up on the latest techniques or try out the latest products, or do you just find out about it mostly online?
I find out about a lot of things online. Well, we have Composite Effects here in Baton Rouge, which is a huge special effects company. They make these silicone masks that look
Sure, I've heard of them.
completely real, but a lot of people in the film industry don't know that they're even local to us. But I have quite a few friends that work there, and was friends with one of the owners, and have been able to go and kind of work on things in their incredible shop. And you learn I've learned a lot through just meeting with people, becoming friends with people in the industry, and being completely humble about it, letting them teach you everything that they know and can do.
That's such good advice. I mean, I'm going to tell that to young people all the time. It doesn't matter how smart and great you are. You have to be humble when you're,
There's always something you can learn.
always have to be humble, but
There's
it's
always something
especially
you can learn.
there's
Absolutely.
always something you can learn. I want to ask you this though: people in your industry, the support and services of the movie and film industry, they've got to be just really nervous if they're still here at all. I mean,
The
because it's
people
industry,
in the industry. Yes, there's a lot of people I know that have worked in the film industry for many years, and they are kind of nervous. They're wondering, do I go back to that 9-to-5 life? Because working in the film industry it's hard hours. It's 15 hours a day. You're getting up at 2 a.m. sometimes to be on set for 3 or 4, or to have an actor on set for 5, and you have to do their makeup for 2 hours. So it's hard to go back to 9-to-5 hours after having that
and
kind of
especially
career.
if you're doing what you love.
Oh, yeah,
more than
definitely.
anything. Well, speaking of doing what you love, Candace, what happens when you get clothes that perhaps you don't like? If they send them to you, do you have to wear them and blog about them anyway, or
Well, actually,
what's your
I have-
relationship like, with them?
Actually, I have a freeze or like a little disclaimer in my media kit that states if I don't feel comfortable reviewing your product, or if something's not right, I will contact the company first, and if they provide me a prepaid shipping label, then I will ship it back. So there's no real, I have to promote it on my website, because I always want to remain as honest as I can
Sure.
to my followers, so they stick around. And
That's great.
It's only happened a few times.
Did you sit down with a lawyer before you did this and say, hey, what kind of clauses do I need to put in my media kit, or with somebody to even help you put a media kit together, or did you just figure this out as you went along?
Well, actually, Brittany, the girl I mentioned earlier, she provided me with a copy of hers. She just took out her rates and stuff like that because that's kind of personal. But she sent me a copy of hers. And
That's great.
Now I'm considering consulting with a lawyer in the near future so I can get a contract drafted up, since I'm steadily growing.
Well, how do you ladies think the Capital Region ecosystem has been for the development of your business? Is the creative culture here, the lending climate, the referral business, has it been supportive of what you all are doing, or have you
would
really had
say-
to rely on out-of-state mentors and referrals, like you said?
I would say it's improving because there's starting to be more of a fashion appearance in Baton Rouge. Like, they just started the one-of-a-kind fashion week. I actually participated in that last year.
Okay.
I think it was like the 2nd or 3rd year they're doing it. So they're starting to, appreciate more of the fashion aspect in Baton Rouge. But I would still say most of my influence, my inspiration, all of that comes from out of state,
Interesting.
like the larger cities.
Yeah. What about you, Grace?
I'm a Louisiana girl. I love living here, and I feel like I can get I get inspiration from everything around me. And I mean, that's easy to do with painting. There's art is so subjective that there is something out there for everybody, and I don't know, I paint what's around me. And as far as my approach to special effects, that's a realistic approach, as realistic as a zombie can look. I like to I break down how, I don't know, this is graphic over lunch, but like, how would this zombie come to be? How would it have decomposed? Or I would like to think, how would this wound look like this? Or whatever the makeup is that I'm doing, I try to have a very realistic approach to it.
And are your
So-
paintings also sort of macabre or gothic, or do you paint flowers and fields and landscapes and
Not
puppy
landscapes.
dogs?
I actually, some of my paintings can be a little more dark, but they're mostly kind of just surreal feelings, I guess, if I'm painting for myself. Commissions, I paint a little bit of everything. Actually, my pet portraits have become really popular lately.
Your pet portraits. So
Pet
I
portraits.
was joking about the puppy dogs, but I think I was onto something there. I did not know.
Yes,
right.
I did a sale one Christmas, and I was just saying 16 by 20s for $100, and I had someone ask me to paint their dog, and I got more feedback from that than I have
Really?
on children and painting anything else that I've ever painted. I've started doing this, I guess, right before last Christmas, and I've done hundreds of pets this year.
No kidding.
I mean,
So
my
you see, you
living
never
room
know
at
where
any
it's going to
time.
lead.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and so it's all that it has that local influence because it's people around me. Now I have shipped across country, but it has, people have wanted, oh, well, I live in Spanish Town. I walk my dog downtown, so I want the bridge and the downtown skyline in the background. So it has that Louisiana feel to it as well.
how much does a pet portrait cost?
Right, it depends on the size. I generally do now they're $175 for a 16 by 20, and I paint on wood, so it's easy to frame, pop in any kind of open back frame.
That sounds like that's a doable price.
Yeah.
Real quick, in 30 seconds or less, where do you ladies see yourself 5 years from now? Where do you want to be 5 years from now?
Hopefully doing the same thing I'm doing, but continue to be more organized with it, I guess. Keep up with my own blogs and just keep having commissions.
And what about you, Candace?
I would like to be a full-time fashion blogger. That's actually what I'm working towards now. At this point, once I'm making enough revenue, as far as like paying my bills,
Sure.
I'm pretty much gonna, let everything else go, because I feel like I can focus more time on that and make even more, to really benefit from it.
Well, Candace Hampton and Grace Emden, good luck to both of you. Baton Rouge is fortunate to have such bright, creative talent in its midst, and there's a lot of potential for both of your endeavors. We look forward to following your progress, and thanks for being with us today on Out to Lunch.
Thank you.
Thank you so
for having
much.
us.
My guests today on Out to Lunch have been Grace Emden, artist and founder of Art Gracefully, and fashion blogger Candace Hampton of The Beauty Bow. You can find out more about Art Gracefully and The Beauty Bow by following the links on our website. It's batonrouge.la and wrkf.org. Today's show is recorded live over lunch at Mansur's on the Boulevard in Baton Rouge. Mansur's is open for lunch daily from 11 to 2, for dinner nightly, and for brunch on Saturdays and Sundays. The producer of our show is Grant Morris. Our technical producer is Eric Merle. Our associate producer is Peter Raschuti, and our Baton Rouge business consultants are Charlie D'Agostino and Ann Edelman. You can see photos from this show on itsbatonrouge.la and on our Facebook page. These photos are taken by Ken Stewart and Rick LeCompte. All the music on Out to Lunch is composed and performed by Mitchell Foreman. You can find more of Mitchell's music wherever great jazz is streamed or sold and at mitchellforeman.com. You can get this show as a podcast, you can listen to past shows, and you can keep up with us on all kinds of social media by going to our websites. It's batonrouge.la and wrkf.org. Out to Lunch is a production of INO Broadcasting for its batonrouge.la and WRKF 89.3 FM. I'm Stephanie Riegel. Thanks for joining me. I look forward to meeting you again next week around the table here at Mansur's for more business Baton Rouge style on Out to Lunch.
Major support for Out to Lunch is provided by the law firm of Jones Walker. Established in 1937 with over 375 attorneys and offices throughout the U.S., providing a comprehensive range of services to a local, national, and international client base. JonesWalker.com. And by Business First Bank, with locations throughout the state, including 11 offices in the Baton Rouge area, providing personal and commercial banking, treasury management, and wealth solution services to help clients succeed. Business First Bank. Banking with greater momentum at b1bank.com.